Is this the best top to bottom league that you've seen in terms of depth and parity?
It's a great question. The league has had some really, really good years, obviously. I think maybe the difference in this is that the floor is raised, and so therefore there is more of a, and part of that's the portal. Because I've coached long enough to, you would have years where, like, we're the youngest team in Power 4. So you saw a lot of that tonight. And I think that we're a rarity in today's game right now because in most cases in the portal you can be old every year if you choose to because you can go get grad transfers, you can go get that. So I think that's raised the floor, and it certainly raised the floor in our league. So yes, I do think that there is more depth to this league than there has been in the past, and I think there's not much of a margin from the top to the middle, whereas before I think there was a bigger margin from that.
You guys forced 18 turnovers today. Is that something you were looking to get ahead of on this team? And then just also, how difficult is it to play a game where you force 18 turnovers and still don't walk away with the win?
Well, we're not even in the game, right? I think the game got sloppy. Part of that, I think, probably the margin and part of, rotations. But, we're a tired team right now. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This is our fourth game in 8 days. Third road game, so we were a tired team. So I was proud of our group for continuing to fight through what was a pretty big struggle. I thought Baylor played really well. They put us in. I mean, Fauntleroy shot the lights out tonight. Scott, can really get it going. Both of those two, I think I heard somebody say season high threes. It felt like it. Give Baylor credit for that because they really put us in some tough spots tonight.
Jeff, that may have been part of what got them separation, but in that third quarter, y'all were kind of in it through the first two quarters. What caused that separation in the third?
Well, we just had our shot decisions in that stretch were poor. I thought we were weak around the rim. I think we had some frustration in our players. I think the fatigue at that point, a combination of those two things. We didn't go to the next play very well. We had a lot of breakdowns, and then tonight Baylor made you pay on every time you missed a break. If you had a breakdown defensively, if you went inside on a screen, they faded it. If you trailed it, they made the right read. So I think a combination of a lot of things. All right, guys, thank you.
Was there like a, I don't know, like a flow state that you get in when you're just like hitting threes? Like what was your feeling in that third quarter when you really kind of pulled away?
Yeah, I like that phase of flow state. I think we were just having fun. We talked about some adjustments that we needed to make after the second quarter, and we started the game really well. So I think we came out with that same energy we started with and just kind of built off of it. And it wasn't as many threes in the first quarter, but just scoring and getting into our actions. And they had to guard us different, so we were open at the three and started knocking them down.
Talia, how comfortable are you running the point at this point in time? I mean, there were some turnovers, but are you still learning that position, kind of?
Yeah, I think I'm still learning that position. I think my natural position is probably more so of a 2, but I can play both. And so just being able to get some reps, especially in games like this, just in case like I ever do have to play that as a primary position. But I think just getting in the groove and just like I said, just getting the reps at it. I think I play primarily 2s and running off of screens, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm getting more comfortable as games go by.
Bella, what's your confidence level when shots start going in like that?
Literally, all I could do, first of all, I was like, thank you, Jana. Because Jana has been talking me up. Like, she's one of those people that if you need energy, she's going to give it to you. If you need her to pray with you, if you need her to yell at you and get on you, like, however Jana can be a great teammate, she's going to do that. And she's been talking to me this however many games stretch and like keep shooting, I'm gonna keep finding you, and everybody has. And then I literally said thank you God. I don't know if you saw me, but I literally was like thank you God. But it just feels good. Like I feel like I put so much work in, like hours and hours and extra minutes of shooting. Whenever they don't fall, it's like, dang, that kind of hurts my feelings. But to know that those went in today and that I'm going to continue to build off of that and have that confidence is huge, especially going into this last stretch of regular season and postseason.
Talia, there's a stretch in the second quarter where there's probably 3 or 4 kind of real physical fouls between the two teams. Can you just talk a little bit about just kind of the aggression of this league and also how emotion kind of ties into playing games like this tonight, where it's competitive?
Yeah, I think we're at the end of the season, right? And it's almost at a point where we're win or go home. And so the aggression level is going to pick up. We're getting close to Big 12 tournament. We have 1 game left. Teams are eager for wins right now. And teams are eager to try to start something they can keep it going, keep it flowing, and eventually try to win something. And so the aggression is naturally going to pick up. I just think that we play hard. People want to win. People are willing to dive on the floor at this point. Our body's already broken down, so it's not much more breaking down you can do by diving on the floor and stuff. But I just think teams are eager to get to their flow, get aggressive, do all that stuff.
Talia, how much did y'all need a game like this? I mean, maybe things felt a little bit easier today than they have in past games going into the regular season finale.
Yeah, I think, of course, this is a game where people see shots going in the basket, and that's ultimately key, right? We have people's confidence is through the roof right now. We need that in order to go into the game and perform in the next game that we're about to have. And so I think this is a great game, even for the bench to be able to get in and get minutes, and I'm so happy we're able to have them get reps and stuff because we're going to need them eventually too. And I think that this was just a good game for everybody. I think everybody played really, really well. Of course, there was some stuff that we can do better. There's some turnovers that were probably unforced that we shouldn't have. But I think people's confidence really grew this game. And when you beat a team by however much we just beat them by, like, people are going to be happy, and it's going to be great energy carrying on into a big game that we have.
And Bella, if this is the last game in Foster, what has this place meant to you, opening it up and having the success that you've had here?
It's been really special. I remember one of my biggest games of my college career was our opening day here against TCU 2 years ago. So just to know that we've made so many memories, had so much fun, moved from being in a visiting locker room to our actual locker room and like made the space our own and made it our home. Just knowing that those memories and how much we've all grown as players and people here has been really special. I really, really hope it's not the last one. If we take care of business, I think we'll have a chance to be back here again with all of our fans. But just very grateful to have the opportunity to have been over here.
Hey, ladies. There's a lot of emotions going on tonight. What's y'all's main focus? What's y'all's mindset going into this home stretch that y'all were talking about?
I think just I don't know. We're in the mode where we want to win, and we're willing to do anything to try to win. I think we're going to go back and we're going to look at film from the past game that we played versus TCU, and we're going to find things that we need to adjust, that we need to fix, and we're going to come into practice with a different mindset. I think that over the past few days, for sure, that we've come into practice with the idea that we're willing to do anything to win, whether that's putting yourself on the floor, whether that's making an extra pass, whether it's somebody's only scoring 2 points instead of 20, like, it doesn't matter. We're willing to do whatever it takes to win. And I think going into that game, that's really important from everybody on the team. And we're just coming in with a different mentality than I feel like we've had over the course of the year.
Sick 'em.
Thank you.
point out turnovers, but that.
Why would you think that,
Yeah,
Jerry?
that's immediately where I went to. Third quarter, though, that stretch y'all had where just everything was flowing. I mean, is that kind of a sign of how
Yeah,
good
I thought the first 5 minutes and then, really the first 6 or 7 minutes of that third quarter, I knew we needed to sub, but it was really hard to because that group had such good synergy. And I thought that we moved the ball. The ball had a lot of energy. We set screens. We separated off screens. The first possession of the game, I don't think people realize how much pressure Talia can take off our team. Like when you run a first play and you execute it perfectly, but it has a lot to do with her making a good read. She's really good at knowing when you're going to switch and when you're not going to switch. So she knows when to settle behind the switch. And so when she hit that, and then to see KJ step up and hit that second three, obviously, like in my mind, I've been saying this a while, and I've never wanted to say it out loud because it makes you nervous, but I knew Bella was due to make shots, and we are a completely different team when she's making shots. And you don't want to put pressure on any one kid, but when she is the center of your defense in terms of her ability to communicate and get people where they need to be and make the right plays and switch when you're supposed to switch and all those things, but then she makes shots. Like she scored 16 points, and then we scored 80 instead of 64. And that's the difference in an offensive Baylor and a non-offensive Baylor, because a lot of the rest of our kids had what they normally have, so she was the big difference tonight. And for me, that just was, my heart filled with pure joy to see the ball go through the basket. Even when we shot it way too quick in the third and they came down and hit a three at the other end, we shot that way too quick, but Bella made it, so I was going to be happy. So, yeah. I thought the ball moved. I thought we got in early screens. I thought we read our screens. I thought we rolled. We finished, But, yeah, we had too many turnovers.
I am going to ask about turnovers.
Yeah.
Who is your backup point guard at this point, and how is it Talia? And how does she need to learn more in that spot?
Yeah, it's Talia. It's been Talia all season, but she doesn't get a ton of reps at it. And Jana is kind of an iron woman. And so, I think, when I play Ella, that girl, she helped where she was supposed to help. She was in the coverage. Every time I've ever put her in the game, she is it doesn't matter if you put her in a minute in or with a minute to go. She knows her scout. She knows, we put other people in and they don't even know who they're guarding, let alone sometimes what their tendency is. And so, I think that's where, we didn't have the opportunity early in the season to develop a backup point guard besides Talia, because Ella was out and Nez was out. And then you get into the flow of the season and it's hard to just throw them out there this time of year. So, yes, it's Talia. But it doesn't mean that I don't think we can get good things out of Ella or Nez.
There was a moment in the second quarter when Bugs first comes out where she started to limp back towards the locker room, but then almost immediately turned around and sat down on the bench. Can you just talk about a little bit her physicality and also her willingness to kind of put her body on the line to get what the team needs?
Yeah, when we were talking on senior day after, and she was like, we know we all got freshman stories. I think back to Bugs' freshman year when her quads would cramp almost every game. And if anyone starts banging on their quads, it's everyone thinks of Bugs, because her whole freshman year, she was just banging on her quads to get them to work. And, she's gotten so much stronger, and, we've worked really hard to put as much weight on her as you can. But, she's just someone that is always going to give her all for the team. She had 5 offensive rebounds tonight, but the number of times that she goes and nearly gets it or tips the ball, she's in a crowd all the time, and the fearlessness she has is just special. For her to be, I think about the number of games she lost last year and where she's at all time in rebounds, and you look at the people on that list and nobody looks like Bugs. Nobody looks like Bugs. And so it's sheer energy. It's sheer energy. It's sheer effort. Yeah. Don't make me cry. I don't know what I'm going to do without Bugs.
First off, how is Kyla? Like, is that a long-term thing?
No, she's sick.
And then were you happy with what Kayla and KJ gave you? Kayla, I think, tied her career high in rebounds. How pleased were you with especially Kayla?
Yeah. Well, I'll start with KJ because I thought KJ was really good tonight. I thought her shot blocking, she had 7 points. It's not like she's going to go get you 20. But she was efficient. I thought the three was important. You look back, we don't beat Iowa State without her making open threes on the perimeter. So that has great value for us. I'd love to see her go 1 for 2 every game or 1 for 3 because I think she's capable. But, I thought she was really solid all night with her pace. Her screening, I thought, was as good as it's been. And so I thought she played well. I thought Kayla got a little tired in the first run. They got 2 of their transition baskets just rim running on us. And then I thought she fumbled the ball more than she ever does. She probably has the surest hands of any of our post players because I think she's our best low block scorer, like the ability. And I thought she played too finesse early, but she gives us someone that can post up, that can score around the rim. And I thought she got better as in the second stretch when she went in. I thought she was a lot better in terms of her defensive coverages. She's got to know when she's guarding a shooter. But yeah, I thought she was solid. I just thought she'd drop passes she doesn't normally drop.
Jana received a standing ovation when she came out at the end of the game. With this possibly being their last game here in the Foster, what have both Jana and then all the other seniors here just meant to you and this program?
Really? Yeah, first of all, I hope it's not our last game, but we've got some work to do to make a case for it not being our last game. But I think this has been a special building for us. We moved into this place when those guys were midway through their sophomore year or Jana's junior year. But the biggest thing about that senior group, and I'll start with when I talk about them, there's 2 different groups because Bella, Bugs, and Jana have been here 4 years, and they're the ones that built our culture. They're the ones that saw us through the transition, saw us, figure things out. They're the players that, now everyone on our team wasn't a part of the regime before. And so, this is a group that's built their own legacy for 4 years. And they have or will have, Baylor degrees. Jana's going to have a master's degree. Bugs will graduate this spring. Bella graduated in December. So they're everything that's good about who we are and what we do. And so hopefully it's not their last game, but I'm just lucky to have coached all 4 of them. I think KJ has just come in and just aligned with our culture. She's a Duncanville kid, and it was good to get a Texas kid back, and she's just been a huge part of our success, in whatever little way and big way. Sometimes it's little ways, sometimes it's big ways.
Nikki, coaches, players, whatever, talk about the freshman wall. It seems like Markayla has actually gotten better late in the season. Have you seen that from her?
Yeah, I think she hit her wall earlier, and she's has fallen over the wall. I think, sometimes it also just takes opportunity. And, when you get in some games where you can kind of lean into your subs and play them a little more, there's no doubt that half the battle with young players is them getting enough minutes to make an impact. And, when you're in these dog fights and they make mistakes, it's hard. You want to roll with the people that, got you there. But I certainly think you see what she's capable of because she can score in a variety of ways, and she's uber fearless. And when she begins to see open people besides just the basket, like she'll be really, really hard to guard because she can get to the paint. Her mid-range is as good as anybody in the country. She does a good job of getting to balance and her step through and, you know, all of that stuff. So sometimes she has to take creative shots because she doesn't see the wide open first option out in the corner standing there. But she'll get there. I mean, when you're the leading scorer in Oklahoma as a senior, your job is to score, and you're thinking score, and it's hard to change that mentality. And we don't want her to not look to score. But it's harder when all of a sudden that's 6-7 in there. So it all comes down to like understanding what's available and who you're playing against. And but I thought offensively, she did a really good job in both these last two games, like kind of searching her shot and getting to balance and making some tough plays too.
Coach, to end this little 5-game stretch as emphatically as this game was, how important is that for the confidence and just the attitude as you get into one last regular season game and then March?
Yeah, you know, this game is so much about confidence. I mean, look at Bella, you know, and so I think you want to feel good going into prep. You know, I mean, that's important. I mean, we've talked about since we lost that Tech game, what was in front of us, and, you know, that we had to find a way to win these 2 games to put ourselves in position to play for a championship. And so here we are, and, you know, the biggest yell of the game was when I told them in the huddle that, you know, we wanted to keep pressing on, and there was no reason to hold back because they were about to have 2 days off. And they need it. Their minds need it. Their bodies need it. You know, I just think it's important this time of year. This has been a tough stretch for us. And, you know, I just, they're a great group. And so, you know, to have this opportunity to prepare for a championship, you know, is all you can really ask for this time of year. So it's not going to be easy. I don't know how many games they've won in a row up there, but it's a lot. And so I just encourage anyone to put Schollmeyer, whatever, Arena, Coliseum, in their GPS and be there on Sunday. So happy for the Big 12 that game day is coming to the Big 12. I think the league has been doing this on purpose, you know, with us playing this last game of the year. If it happens again next year, I'm going to know. But I think it's an exciting thing for the league. And that doesn't take away from the fact that West Virginia is right there too. And West Virginia come Sunday is going to be the biggest Baylor fan probably in the country. So, but we'll take their prayers and, you know, their fingers crossed and all the things. So at this point, I'm going to be happy sharing it. Thank you.